How to build a dream team that drives business success. My team seems angry and anxious around me. They get nervous, argue, and ignore my instructions. How can I turn this around?
Okay, great question. Now, the first thing, it's good that you're noticing that they're not happy. So that in itself is something because you're starting to notice the emotions that are there and what's happening in the team. So, if I were in your shoes, I would probably have a talk with them. If you don't want to do it on a group level because there are many people that are feeling this and you don't want it to turn into a very negative scenario, perhaps you would do it one-on-one. So I would sit with each one of them one-on-one and have that discussion, what's going on. But in order to do that, you need to be really open-minded. And when I say open-minded, I mean when you sit with them, you really need to accept their answers. And they may be very tough answers. And they may be very difficult things that you're going to hear. Yet, you need to accept that and live in that discomfort because it's going to be uncomfortable, I can assure you. It's going to be uncomfortable. Such discussions, difficult conversations are not easy. However, you need to be able to manage that discomfort and live in that discomfort if you really want to listen to them. And don't judge what they're saying. Just listen and hear them out and see the world from their eyes. That would be a great first step to do so that you can gather some information about what's going on and what you need to work on.
Are difficult conversations beneficial in the workplace, and why?
Difficult conversation is an absolute must. If you're living your life not having difficult conversations, I must say something's wrong, especially when you care about a certain relationship. So if I'm a leader, I care about my people and I care about having a good relationship with them. I cannot have a deep, trustworthy relationship if I am trying to avoid difficult conversations. Why? Because the word difficult, what is difficult about a conversation? It means there's some emotional aspect to it. So either I'm not happy with a person's performance or what they said, I'm upset from what they did with me. It may be a colleague, it doesn't have to be an employee. It may be my boss, it may be the board of directors. So if I am feeling some unpleasant emotions with these people, and I don't talk about it, these emotions will eat me up. Because don't think that you can neglect them or pretend that they're not there. They're going to come back because the emotions are going to still live in your body. And in some way, they are going to show up. And they may not show up in the best way possible. They may show up in a very spontaneous, impulsive reaction that will get you into trouble. When you handle these emotions in a way, in a very positive way and in a healthy way through having that difficult conversation, then the impact of that emotion is gone and you turn it into a more positive relationship and a relationship that is more based on trust than it could ever be if you hadn't had that conversation.
If I show my emotions during tough conversations, won't I look weak? I get emotional, and it feels hard. Will my team still respect me if I'm open about my feelings?
That's a wonderful question, because that's the biggest myth that we have. People think that showing emotion is weakness, and it's not. And I can assure you that that's the greatest vulnerability somebody can show, and vulnerability is courage and strength. It has nothing to do with weakness. But this is a myth in our mind because this is a belief that has been created about emotions in our brains since a long time. But it's not true. Because and when I say because people, maybe when they think that showing emotion, they think that you're going to have a tantrum. That's not it. That's not showing emotion. That's being impulsive and allowing the emotion to drive your behaviors. That's not what I'm talking about. Emotional intelligence is when you understand your emotions and you direct your own actions, not the emotions direct you. So when you understand your emotion and you have good maturity around, okay, what's going on in me now and what's happening and why do I need to have this conversation and why is it really eating me up in some way and what is really at stake here? That's different because you understand what's going on and you're going to talk to the other person on a very deep level, helping them understand you and who you are and why whatever happened is bothering you. So that is not weakness at all. That's a great strength that we need to practice more often. Unfortunately, our belief that it is a weakness makes us run away from such discussions and such conversation.
I've been hiding my emotions for a long time, and you said that will eat me up. What does that mean, and what are the consequences of suppressing my feelings?
Eat me up means when, let's say very simple things, okay? Just a very basic example, okay? If you do something at work that annoys me, okay? I'm going to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to brush it off. I'm someone who doesn't really, I'm not impacted by these things. I don't allow these things to impact me. That's not true. Because what's going to happen here is that in my memory, I'm going to have a negative memory between me and you. So the next time I see you, if I'm also annoyed by something else, that's also going to go into my memory. So I'm going to have like 2 negative things against you. And this is going to impact the way I feel against you on an unconscious level without me noticing. Even if I'm trying to be great with you, internally, there is some conflict that's happening that is not allowing me to connect with you properly. So let's say I'm assigned a project with you. Guess what? I'm not going to be able to perform that project to the utmost best. Why? Because internally, when I have these memories, unpleasant memories in my brain, unconsciously impacting me, I'm not going to be very present with you. So why? Because I'm scared of you a little bit. So there's some fear there, and that distrust. If you don't want to call it fear, call it distrust. There's some distrust there. So when I am under distrust, I have high cortisol in me. So when I'm with you and I have high cortisol, I'm not going to share much information. I won't be very open with you. I won't say things. I'm just going to agree with you, and just so that I don't get into an issue with you. At the same time, if you're going to give me any comments around my ideas or feedback, I'm not going to accept that, because I'm going to feel attacked by you, because I already have that cortisol and distrust in me. So it's going to impact a lot what's going on. And mind you, neither I am aware of that, neither they are aware of that. And if anything, I'm going to give myself a logical explanation that the reason I rejected the idea that this person gave is because it's a ridiculous idea. But actually, it's not because it's a ridiculous idea. It's because I am not open, because I have cortisol, because I distrust that person. So I'm not open to their ideas. And by losing that openness, we're going to be losing innovation, both of us. So it's a bad result for the company. And that's why if I do have that difficult conversation, if I am aware, let's start from the start. If I am aware that I wasn't feeling okay with how this person behaved with me, and I go into that emotional self-awareness and allow that emotional self-awareness to drive me to go have a difficult conversation with this person, then the emotion will be gone and it won't stay there in my body, impacting the next interaction and the next interaction I have with that person.
So you're saying my emotional intelligence directly affects the company's success?
Of course it does. Because, as I mentioned many times, your emotions drive your behaviors. Your emotions, what are emotions? They're information. An emotion is simply an information. Just think of it this way. If you are an executive or a leader and you want to make decisions, the first thing you do is start gathering information around that situation, right? Around that problem that you want to solve. So you start gathering information. And, you try to get as much information and be well informed before you make a decision, right? So what if I tell you that emotions are in information? So when you make a decision without including emotions, this means it's not a well-informed decision. And therefore, it's not the optimal decision that can be taken.